All right, how's everybody doing today? Hotep, hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, writer, and historian. It is Sunday, November 21st, 2021, and we are live. So I just wanted to come on for a few minutes. I'm getting ready to teach an online class. I just wanted to come on and talk briefly about this 10-week online course that I teach on Sundays, normally 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today we're starting a little later. So you can register for this 10-week online course. It's called From the Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, What They Didn't Teach You in School. Ancient Kemet, one of the original names for Egypt. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, What They Didn't Teach You in School. Okay. And we teach this at my online school. The class is regularly $130. It's on sale $60. Some of the things, and you can watch it anytime also. If we do it live, the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. So I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have articles, book references, and we deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. All right. So I just want to go over a few brief things that we cover in the class. And we just did a section dealing with Hannibal Barca and the great African general Hannibal, the Carthaginian general Hannibal. And we talked about Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus and the Battle of Cannae 216 BC, as well as the Battle of Zama in 202 BC. But we deal with ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, the Nile Valley region of Africa. We deal with the Africans known as the Moors, and what the Moors take into Europe. And we deal with how all this leads to the transatlantic slave trade taking place also. Okay. Now, let's see here. I'm going to pull up this PowerPoint presentation. We'll look at this briefly. Okay, everybody share this broadcasting and social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. Okay, so we look at what was some events leading to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We deal with ancient Africa. We deal with the Khoisan, ancient African civilizations. We look at the Khoisan, who are the ancestors to the Anu and the Twa. We look at Abyssinia, Ethiopia, Nubia, Ta-Nehesi, ancient Kemet, Egypt, and we also look at what the Moors take into Europe that brings Europe out of the Dark Ages. All right, so let me flip over here to the PowerPoint presentation. How's everybody doing? We'll post a link here so you can register for the 10-week online course. As soon as you register, you can watch last week's class. You can also join us in class today. We'll post a link here right now. And it's at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right, so let's let me flip over the slideshow. Okay, hold on just a second here. All right, let's look at some of the things we deal with in the class. So we deal with what was the transatlantic slave trade? What were some of the events that led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place? We look at this history chronologically. Also, we look at what role did Christopher Columbus play. Columbus is central to the transatlantic slave trade expanding. He's conquering on behalf of the Spanish crown, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. He's looking. We look at him conquering Hispaniola. And on Hispaniola, you also have the western portion is going to be called Haiti, Saint Dominique, Haiti. It's conquered Cuba, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and some of these island nations that are being conquered. We've heard about here in the news recently, Jamaica, uh, Haiti, Cuba, etc. They're still feeling the effects of Columbus conquering them over 500 years ago. And Columbus helps to lay the foundation for slavery, racism, capitalism, and the exploitation of indigenous people and of African people. We look at when did Africans first come to the U.S. as slaves, because even before 1619, you have the Spanish taking Africans into the territory we call South Carolina in 1526, the South Carolina, Georgia area in 1526. And those Africans are going to overthrow their oppressors, and they're going to runaways believe they go live with Native Americans. We do it. Did Africans sell themselves into slavery? Were African people, because we deal with that complicated history, because the way it actually happens is not the way it's really taught. Were African people in America before the transatlantic slave trade? Absolutely. This was, and when we look at the work from Dr. David Imhotep, who wrote the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence, we see that African people, we were here for tens of thousands of years, even before Native Americans come into existence. Okay, this was actually our land stolen from us. And I've interviewed Dr. David Imhotep a number of times. His first book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence, deals with the African presence in this country going back at least 51,700 years ago. And then his new book, and I just interviewed him back on October, I think it was October 12th, on the anniversary of Columbus landing in the Bahamas, October 12, 1492. His new book, The First Americans Were Africans, revised, is out now, available at Amazon.com. But on page 14 of his first book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence, he talks about evidence of an African presence 51,700 years ago in a campsite in Allendale County, South Carolina, discovered by archaeologist Dr. Albert Goodyear. And they found 13 different types of evidence thoroughly documenting an African presence in this country, in this land we call the United States of America. They found artifacts, architecture, campsites, carvings, Egyptian writings, footprints in lava, genetic M174D haploid groups dealing with DNA and genetics. They found linguistics, paintings, skulls, skeletons, structures, and tools, thoroughly documenting an African presence in this land we call the United States of America, dating back at least 51,700 years ago. This is long before Native Americans even come into existence. Now, this article here from ScienceDaily.com deals with Dr. Albert Goodyear's discovery. This article is from November 18th, 2004. The name of the article is New Evidence Puts Man in North America 50,000 years ago. New evidence puts man in North America 50,000 years ago. And the article's still there. You can go read it. Here's a summary of what the article says. Radiocarbon tests of carbonized plant remains where artifacts were unearthed last May along the Savannah River in Allendale County by University of South Carolina archaeologist Dr. Albert Goodyear, indicate that the sediments containing these artifacts are at least 50,000 years old, meaning that humans inhabited North America long before the last ice age. Okay, you can go read this full article. Now, we deal with archaeological discoveries that are causing the scientists and anthropologists and archaeologists to rethink everything. And the more research they do, the more research they do, the older we get, the deeper they dig, the blacker the planet gets. And they keep having to push the timelines back because they're realizing all of this stuff is much older than we were originally told. Okay, they keep having to push the timelines back. Now, here's some other things that we deal with in the class. And I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips, all of this. We do the sessions live, normally Sundays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today we'll start about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can register and join us in class as soon as I finish this broadcast here. And the sessions are all archived and recorded, so you can go back and watch them anytime, even after the 10-week online course is over with. You can still go back and watch the full 10-week class. We deal with when were African people in America before the transatlantic slave trade. We look at the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, shocking archaeological discoveries that are causing experts to rethink everything. And discoveries are coming out every 2 weeks. Okay, archaeological discoveries are coming out every 2 weeks. There was one that just came out of another one that just came out of Egypt, and this deals with a sundial. Archaeologists say they found a lost 4,500-year-old sun temple, a sun temple in Egypt. Okay, so CNN has an article about this. We posted this on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. Every other week, archaeological discoveries are coming out, especially Africa, and many of them coming out of Egypt, that are causing scientists to rethink everything and push timelines back. Archaeologists say they found a lost 4,500-year-old sun temple in Egypt. Archaeologists have uncovered, let's try to blow this up here. Archaeologists have uncovered what they believe to be one of Egypt's lost sun temples, dating from the mid-25th century BCE, before the Common Era. The team uncovered the remains. The team recovered the remains beneath another temple at Abu Gharaib, around 12 miles south of Cairo. Mission co-director Massimiliano Nuzzolo, an assistant professor of Egyptology at the Polish Academy of Sciences Institute for Mediterranean and Oriental Cultures in Warsaw, told CNN on Monday. Now, this article is from November 17th, 2021. November 17th, 2021. Nuzzolo and the team's discovery featured in the show Lost Treasures of Egypt on National Geographic, which aired Sunday. In 1898, archaeologists working at the site discovered the Sun Temple of Nusara, also known as Nusair, the sixth king of the fifth dynasty, or Nasubiti, or Pharaoh, who ruled Egypt, Kemet, between 2400 and 2370 BCE, before the Common Era, which is the equivalent to BC, who ruled Kemet between 2400 and 2370 BCE. Okay, so, and this is a picture here. The temple was discovered beneath a later sun temple. And here's a picture of this archaeological discovery. But these discoveries are coming out every other week, and they're causing archaeologists and scientists, paleontologists, etc., to rethink everything and push the timelines back. Okay, now let's go back to this here very quickly. We look at the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, and we look at Tariq ibn Ziyad, the Moorish general going into the Iberian Peninsula, which is today Spain and Portugal, in 711 AD, and conquering. They're fighting against the Vandals and the Visigoths. We look at shocking archaeological discoveries that are causing experts to rethink everything. Insurance companies that took out insurance policies on slave ships and enslaved Africans on plantations. Freemasonry, America and the Founding Fathers, origins of the term America, Africa, and more. We look at Hannibal Barca and the Punic Wars and the Carthaginians. We look at African civilizations like Namibia, Zimbabwe, Nubia, or Ta-Nehisi, all of this. And we go through history and look at and see what leads to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. One of the things we have to look at is the Black Death, the bubonic plague that hits in 1347 in Europe, 1347 to 1400. And we're going to see that coming out of the Dark Ages, Europe is devastated by the Black Death, by the bubonic plague. They lose 1/3 to 1/4 of their population, and Europe is trying to rebuild. So when they're going out conquering other people's land and conquering Native Americans, conquering African people, and setting up these colonies, the Portuguese are the first ones to get involved in the transatlantic slave trade in 1441. The Spanish are right behind them. They're setting up plantations, and especially like when we look at the Spanish conquest, and we look at Puerto Rico and Jamaica and Haiti, or Santo Domingo, then Saint Dominique under the French. We see them setting up plantations and trying to extracting the wealth that's generated from plantations, especially sugarcane plantations. Okay, we're going to see this take place, and we see them extracting gold and silver and mineral wealth to rebuild Europe, and this enriches Europe at the expense of African people and non-European people. Okay, so these are some of the things that we look at in this class. It's very visual. It's a number of articles. It's about 50 articles that we cite. So we have video clips, articles, book references. You don't have to buy any books to follow along in class. Okay. We look at also, one of the things we look at is also the film Black Panther, and the relationship between the film Black Panther and African history. But we look at the African influence in the film Black Panther. And one thing that's important is the relationship between T'Challa, who's the richest man in the Marvel comic universe, but also Mansa Musa, who's the richest man in history, emperor of the Mali Empire. Mansa Musa became ruler of the Mali Empire in 1312 AD, taking the throne after his predecessor, Abu Bakr II, for whom he had served as deputy, went missing on a voyage he took by sea to find the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. Mansa Musa's rule came at a time when European nations were struggling due to raging civil wars and a lack of resources. During that period, the Mali Empire flourished thanks to ample natural resources like gold and salt. Now, this article is from history.com, official website of the History Channel. They're telling you the status West Africa was in at a time when, in the 14th century, when Europe is in disarray. Okay. Read this article here. This 14th century African emperor remains the richest person in history. This is from March 19th, 2018, the month after the film Black Panther came out. All right. And then we look at some of the Neteru, some of the deities in ancient Kemet as well. And another thing that we do is look at the origins, the pre-Christian origins of Christmas, and the connection between the Asar, Aset, and Heru, who the Greeks called Osiris, Isis, and Horus, and the Immaculate Conception, the Virgin Birth, the Adoration, all of this that we see retold in the story of Mary and Jesus, Yeshua, because the letter J didn't exist until 1630 AD. Now, when we look at the film Black Panther, and we look at the panther deity Bast, that comes from Bastet, that comes out of ancient Kemet, is a Neteru. And the Neteru are the deities, also they're referred to as the forces of nature, or the manifestations of that one supreme force, that one creative principle. The supreme force, supreme deity, however you phrase it. Ancient Kemetic or ancient Egyptian goddess Bastet, worshipped in the form of a lioness and later a cat, goddess or netter of warfare in Lower Egypt, Lower Kemet, worshipped as early as the Second Dynasty, around 2890 BCE, before the Common Era. Okay, so these are some of the things that we deal with in the 10-week online course. As soon as you register, you can join us in class today. All right. And then also you can go back and watch the previous classes. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are recorded. You can go back and watch them over and over again. You can watch from around the world as well. And even after the 10-week online course is over, you still have access to the full class. And we just posted a link here. The class is regularly $130, is on sale $60. And we also have the information at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Today we're going to get started around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But at our website, we have the information. You scroll down the home page. We have information about my radio show. I'm on 6 days a week, the African History Network show. on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. So we're on the day Sunday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, we have the Kwanzaa shop here from Sister Nubia Wardford, who's an archaeologist. You've heard me interview her a number of times. The Kwanzaa shop, visit thekwanzaashop.com. We have the information right on the homepage of our website. Okay, get all your Kwanzaa supplies, your kanaras, your mats, your flags, all of that from the Kwanzaa shop and Sister Nubia. But ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Okay, we do this Sundays, normally 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're starting later today. Click right here, register here. It takes you to the next page, and just click on enroll, and the class is over 50% off. So it's regular $130. It's on sale $60. And as soon as you register, you can start watching the content, and you can join us in class. Okay. And I'll be back at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today for the African History Network show. So you don't want to miss that. And we broadcast on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF, and also on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. All right, so we have to get out of here. Remember, right now is correct wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever, and we'll see you in class. Peace.